Okay. So, in order to carry out the digestion of the acid chyme by the intestinal enzymes, first the enzymes has to get prepared for digesting these lipids because they're highly unstable in nature, and this unstable acid chyme is first made into their stable form, and this stable form is carried out by a process known as emulsification, right? And this emulsification or is carried out by what? Emulsifying agents, or we call them as detergents. And the detergents present in the body are the bile salts, and bile salts are present in bile, and the bile is secreted by bile duct. Clear? So for all these actions to be done, first what is happening? The information has to be taken from the small intestine into the bile duct to carry out their secretion, and this is made possible with the help of gastrointestinal hormones. Clear? So along with the bile, the pancreatic juice also has to be secreted by the pancreas. But they are working together to carry out the digestion of lipids. So for all this process to happen in a simultaneous manner and in a coordinated manner, coordinated rhythmic what has to be carried out, there comes the action of the chemical messengers which are known as hormones. Clear? And the hormones mainly coming into actions. There are a number of hormones which are coming into action. The first one we call it as secretin. Secretin. Then we call another enzyme, another hormone is cholecystokinin, pancreozymin. In fact, we write it as a single word, that is cholecystokinin, pancreozymin, CCK-PZ, right? Cholecystokinin, pancreozymin. But actually, these hormones are two individual hormones which are carrying out two entirely different functions. Clear? So, but we, since it is happening in a simultaneous manner, we club the two hormones and write it as a single phrase. Okay, so secretin is there, then comes the cholecystokinin, and there is a pancreozymin. So these are the major three hormones coming into action. And apart from that, there's one more hormone which is known as hepatocrinin, right? Hepatocrinin, and this hepatocrinin is responsible for carrying out the stimulation of bile to secrete more and more bile salt, or the hepatocrinin carries out the stimulation of the bile duct to synthesize more and more bile. Clear? In some cases, some persons will be having only small amounts of bile to carry out the digestion. So in order to carry out the lipid digestion in a more smoother manner, more and more bile has to be required. Like, you will not be having the diet in almost a uniform manner. Sometimes for normal food, normal food, small diet, once in a while we will be taking the fat rich food. ദിവസം വേണ്ട പോലെ ആവില്ല ഫാറ്റ് റിച്ച് ഫുഡ് കഴിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ബൈലിന്റെ ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റി. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് the increased demand of the bile is met with the help of a hormone known as hepatocrinin. Clear? So these are the major hormones which are coming into action to carry out the digestion of lipids in a smoother manner, in a harmonical manner in the small intestine. Right? So one is a secretin, another hormone is cholecystokinin, pancreozymin, and another hormone is hepatocrinin. Now, what are the functions of these hormones? What does secretin do? Secretin is responsible for increased secretion of electrolytes. Electrolytes in the secretion കൂട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടി. കാരണം ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു pancreatic lipase system alkaline medium വേണം act ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട്. അപ്പൊ ഈ alkaline medium is provided with the help of bicarbonate ions. Bicarbonate comes into action. അപ്പൊ ബൈകാർബണേറ്റ് റിലീസ് ചെയ്യണം എന്നുള്ളത് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ കൊടുക്കണം, റൈറ്റ്? ഇൻറ്റസ്റ്റൈനൽ സെൽസിന് ആ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ഇസ് കാരിഡ് ഔട്ട് ബൈ, ബിക്കോസ് ദ എൻസൈം ക്യാൻ ആക്ട് ഓൺലി അറ്റ് എൻ ഓപ്റ്റിമം pH ഓഫ് ഗ്രേറ്റർ ദാൻ 7. ഒരു ആൽക്കലൈൻ മീഡിയത്തിൽ മാത്രമേ അവർക്ക് ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. സോ ദിസ് ആൽക്കലൈൻ മീഡിയം ഇസ് പ്രൊവൈഡഡ് വിത്ത് ദ ഹെൽപ്പ് ഓഫ് ബൈകാർബണേറ്റ് അയോൺസ്, ആൻഡ് ദിസ് ഇൻക്രീസ്ഡ് ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റി ഓഫ് ബൈകാർബണേറ്റ് ഇസ് സെക്രീറ്റഡ് ബൈ ദ സ്മോൾ ഇൻറ്റസ്റ്റൈൻ only in the presence of the hormone secretin. Clear? Electrolytes in the secretion. Electrolytes in general calcium varam, right? Bicarbonate ions varam, right? Alkaline medium provide alkaline medium provide bicarbonate varam. Bicarbonate na koodal kodukkanathu it is by the help of secretin. Now, what is the function of cholecystokinin? Cholecystokinin, chole which endartham gallbladder, right? So cholecystokinin. So what does a cholecystokinin do? It causes a contraction of the gallbladder and discharge the bile into the duodenum. Duodenum upper part of the small intestine, which is upper part of the small intestine, is a duodenum, right? So duodenathinagathekku bile secrete cheyanengil gallbladder causes the contraction of the bile duct and induces the secretion of bile into the duodenum. So that's the function of cholecystokinin. So chole means gallbladder, right? Cholecystokinin, CCK. Then what does the pancreozymin do? As you know, pancreozymin. So what will be the function of pancreozymin? It stimulates the secretion of pancreatic enzymes. Clear? So CCK, PZ. അവരെപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ഒരുമിച്ച് എഴുതുക, കാരണം പാൻക്രിയാറ്റിക് ജ്യൂസും ബൈലും ഒരേ സമയത്താണ് ഡുവോഡനത്തിനകത്തേക്ക് വരേണ്ടത്. അപ്പം ദി ടു ഹോർമോൺസ് വിൽ ബി ആക്ടിങ് ഇൻ എ സൈമിൾട്ടേനിയസ് മാനർ. പക്ഷെ രണ്ടുപേരും ആക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന സൈറ്റ് രണ്ടും ഡിഫറെന്റ് ആണ്. CCK will be acting in gallbladder while the pancreozymin will be acting on the pancreas, and they results in the secretion of the two secretions into the duodenum at the same time. Clear? So these are the major hormones which are coming into action during the digestion of lipids in the small intestine, right? So lipids are digested in the small intestine, the upper part of the small intestine, that is the duodenum, and it must carry out the emulsification first. In order to carry out the emulsification, what is to be done? Detergents has to be provided. These detergents are nothing but bile salts. Bile salts are present only in the bile. So first thing to be happened is what? The bile has to be secreted. So bile secrete cheyanengil bile duct ne information pass cheyanam. Bile duct contract cheyanengil gallbladder vannittu function cheyanam. So bile in the chain, there comes the action of cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin causes a contraction of the gallbladder, which carries out further the release of bile into the bile salt or bile into the duodenum. At the same time, what happens? Another hormone which is known as pancreozymin, it causes a secretion of pancreatic juice into the duodenum. Then there is so pancreatic juice contains pancreatic lipases and other enzymes also, which are related to the lipid digestion. Which are the other enzymes? I'll tell you. But pancreatic lipases, pancreatic phospholipase A2, right? Then lecithinase, and phospholipase A2. Then cholesterol esterase enzymes. But the pancreatic juice enzymes are. Clear? So all the pancreatic juice is released. It should be released into the duodenum. So the thing is that the pancreatic juice can act only at a pH of value greater than 7, or it will be present. It will be acting only in the alkaline medium. So in order to provide the alkaline medium, first secretin vanittu or electrolytes, bicarbonate ions full release it out for alkaline medium, alkaline environment create എന്നിട്ട് മാത്രമേ ഇവർക്ക് ആക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ, right? In some cases there will be an increased demand of bile. So the increased demand of bile will be again met by another hormone which is known as hepatokinin. Hepatokinin is released from the liver and is acted on the intestinal mucosa and stimulates the bile formation. Clear? So this is how the digestion is initiated in the small intestine. So the lipids are hydrophobic and the digestive enzyme lipase is water. Lipase is water insoluble in nature, as water soluble in nature, and hence can work only on the surface of the fat globules. Fat droplets in mail by act mail act in the digestion start. But digestion start if fat droplets full droplets, right? Those bigger droplets will be first broken down to small droplets, right? And this is carried out by the emulsifying agents or the detergents in the shape split നമുക്കൊരു സ്ഥലത്ത് വഴക്കുണ്ടാക്കണമെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്താൽ മതി? ഡിവൈഡ് ആൻഡ് റൂൾ പോളിസി പണ്ട് സോഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റഡീസിൽ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ? എന്ത് ചെയ്താൽ മതി? നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഒരു സ്ഥലത്ത് നമുക്കൊരു പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ടാക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ആദ്യം എന്ത് ചെയ്താൽ മതി? ഡിവൈഡ് ആൻഡ് റൂൾ എന്നുള്ള പോളിസിയും കൊടുത്താൽ മതി. അതായത് യുണൈറ്റഡ് വി സ്റ്റാൻഡ്, ഡിവൈഡഡ് വി ഫോൾ, അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പ്രോവർബ് കേട്ടിട്ടില്ലേ? അപ്പൊ ഇപ്പൊ ഫാറ്റ് ഡ്രോപ്ലെറ്റ്സ് ആസിഡ് ടൈമിലുള്ളത് വലിയ ഡ്രോപ്ലെറ്റ്സ് ആയിട്ടാണ്. അപ്പൊ അവരെ ഡൈജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? ഈ ബൈൽ സോൾട്ട് വന്നിട്ട് ആദ്യം അവരെ കുഞ്ഞു ഡ്രോപ്ലെറ്റ്സ് ആക്കും, പിന്നെ എൻസൈം ക്യാൻ ഗോ ആൻഡ് ആക്ട്. അപ്പൊ എങ്ങനെ അവര് സ്മോൾ ഡ്രോപ്ലെറ്റ്സ് ആക്കുക വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ഡിറ്റർജൻസിന്, എമൽസിഫൈങ് ഏജൻസിന് ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ഗോട്ട് എ നോൺ പോളാർ ഹെഡ് ആൻഡ് നോൺ പോളാർ ടെയിൽ, റൈറ്റ്? അപ്പൊ ഈ ബൈൽ സോൾട്ട് പോയിട്ട് അവർക്ക് ഒരു പോളാർ ഹെഡും ഉണ്ട്, നോൺ പോളാർ ടെയിലും ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഈ ഫാറ്റ് എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇൻസോളബിൾ ആയിട്ട് കിടക്കുന്നത്? ഡ്യൂ ടു സർഫസ് ടെൻഷൻ. That is the tension that is existing between water and the oil surface. Up and a tension and correcting. Even a detergent and detergent curate detergent in the polar head and non-polar tail. Up polar head visit a water lake anchor non-polar tail which are fattening current. They makes a grip, they makes an environment for the enzyme to come and act. Clear? Small bile salt water fat fat at surface tension big droplets, big drops in a fat small droplets. And these droplets are known as emulsion droplets. Right? So this is how the bile salts are carrying out their function, or they brings about the detergent action. So digestion in the intestine is carried out in two different steps. The emulsification by bile salts, followed by the enzymatic digestion. Right? So what is emulsification? It's a process of dispersion of lipids into small droplets by reducing the surface tension, and is essential for the digestion of lipids, and is carried out by bile salts and peristalsis. Peristalsis means movement of the small intestine. Now, what does the bile salts do? They are the detergents. They help in the emulsification of lipids by forming Michel formation, right? Synthesized from cholesterol. From where does the bile salts synthesize? Which are the bile salts? They are the sodium taurocholate and sodium glycocholate. And potassium taurocholate and potassium glycocholate. So these are the bile salts. Taurocholate and glycocholate. Salt in the formula. About sodium taurocholate and sodium glycocholate. Potassium taurocholate and potassium glycocholate. So these are the bile salts. They are synthesized from cholesterol. Cholesterol is synthesized in substances and bile salts and bile acids. And they are secreted with bile in the small intestine. The sodium glycocholate and sodium taurocholate. The potassium salts, sodium and potassium salts. Right? Along with the bile salts. Bile salts matralla phospholipids detergent action under. Clear? Phospholipids also has got because phosphate and lipids are. But phosphates they are hydrophobic, hydrophilic, or polar and phosphoric acid. Right? That's attached lipids non-polar. That's why polar head and polar head is phosphate group. Non-polar tail is lipids. So they can also act as detergents. So which are the emulsifying agents present in the body? One is a bile salt and other is a phospholipid. Phospholipid may be present in the diet also. Diet lilla phospholipid, other body lilla phospholipids can act as emulsifying agents. So the TG digestion occurs at the lipid-water interface and depends on surface area of the interface. So the surface area is reduced by churning the peristaltic movement of the intestine along with the emulsifying action of the bile salt. And this critical process of emulsification takes place in the duodenum. Right? Upon fat droplets in a വലിയ molecule ആദ്യം break ചെയ്ത് കുഞ്ഞാക്കണം. അപ്പം bile salts വന്നിട്ട് അവരുടെ anchoring use ഇതാക്കും. Along with that intestinal muscles ഇങ്ങനെ move ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ആ മൂവിങ് അതിന്റെ ഇടയിൽ കൂടെ ഈ ഒരു പ്രോസസ്സും കൂടി ആകുമ്പോൾ it makes easy for them bile salt to carry out the emulsification. Now, big fat droplets, fat emulsions are now into emulsion droplets. Now, the enzymes come into action. Right? So, if diet lipids TG cholesterol free esterified form phospholipids free fatty acids now they are present in this acid kind. Right? Any short chain fatty acids breakdown initiate lingual lipids and gastric lipids. Majority 90 to 95% undigested. Now the digestion is initiated by the pancreatic juice. So what all things contain? What all things are present in the pancreatic juice? TG digest enzyme down. So TG means triacylglycerol. Right? Majority in the 95% of dietary lipids in the TAG. But TAG digest pancreatic enzyme pancreatic lipase. Clear? Or it is also known as stepsin. Stepsin so TG is digested by pancreatic lipase or stepsin. Then cholesterol pancreatic lipase cleave. Cholesterol is cleaved by cholesterol esterase enzyme. Right? Cholesterol esterase. Then comes the phospholipids. Phospholipid mainly it is a lecithin. or phosphatidylcholine. Lecithin is cleaved by or digested by the enzyme known as phospholipase A2, or it is also known as lecithinase. Clear. So these are the major enzymes which are responsible for carrying out the digestion of lipids in the small intestine: pancreatic lipase, cholesterol esterase, and phospholipase A2.